All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome back. This is going to be the final game in the Mapmaker tournament between LoveTomomo and Saladin from the round of 8. Hope you guys enjoyed this broadcast so far, and like I said before, I want to go ahead and bring you guys games from not only where I work, which is at IPL during the day, but also from games all around the world. So I was able to cast some games with Happy and Naniwa, and now I'm going into the Mapmaker tournament. This is going to be the final game. If you guys want to check out IGN Pro League, check them out at www.ign.com/IPL or at Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube at IGN Pro League. So that's that, and this is going to be the final game, like I said, between Saladin and LoveTomomo. So far been a pretty exciting series because both players have played very aggressively, which is it's a breath of fresh air, I feel like, especially considering the new map. So it's kind of like a wind of fresh air, so to say, because it certainly makes the game very interesting to watch when you've got new maps and new playstyles in place. And we'll see what happens. This is going to be the final game. Saladin obviously doesn't really like Tomomo too much because he didn't GG the first game that he lost. I don't recall if Tomomo GG the last game or not, but Saladin did win, so the series is now tied up. And when it's down to the wire, pressure is always on your shoulders. We'll see how these players perform. 14 pull coming out. No, 13 pull coming out for Tomomo. That's a pretty fast pull there. And I'm one to say because I always 11 pull versus Protoss anyways. But this is a pretty, it's a little bit of an awkward pull timing because typically you're going to go for 14 pull or 11 pull or 15 pull. But 13 pulls is certainly a strange number. We'll see if 13 is Tomomo's unlucky number or not, but he is going to go ahead and get that pull down. The probe is already waiting to deal with the hatchery when it comes out. And Saladin going to go ahead and go for the Nexus first once again. I like the Nexus first, I really do, but you got to be a little careful against Tomomo. Tomomo's already shown that he is certainly capable of throwing the kitchen sink at you. Everything. I mean, he will not hold back, and so Saladin will certainly want to get those cannons up in a very timely fashion here to hold off any types of Zerg aggression. Tomomo right now also has a drone trying to become a hatchery, but there is a probe inside of its potential real estate, so right now Tomomo has to break that down first as Saladin brings his probe back down. He could actually build a gateway here or a cybernetics core. Usually cybernetics core is the weapon of choice, so to say, to further delay that hatchery from going down. And yeah, he's gonna do that, but it's actually a gateway. Okay, so he gets a gateway instead, and with 4 Zerglings and a drone, they will be able to break this down, just enough firepower to break it down and counter the warping in structure. So now the hatchery will go down, but Tomomo certainly delayed in a big fashion. And we'll see what happens from here on out. Will Tomomo go ahead and go into a Roach Zergling all-in again? Is he going to go into something like, I don't know, fast mutas or fast infestors? Because, like I said before, he's shown his capability to play extremely aggressively, and that is why Saladin is scouting so much this game. He doesn't want to get caught off guard like the previous games, and so he's sending out probe after probe, checking for the hatchery. This is already a big scout because, the hatchery could have been canceled, but the hatchery is alive. 2 queens here will prevent the probe from making its way all the way to the back of the mineral field. So, Tomomo, very smart to build an extra queen there, because not only will he have the queen to macro with, but he also prevents the probe from running behind his mineral field. And so if there was a roach horn back here, it has gone undetected for Saladin. So Saladin doesn't really know if Tomomo is going to do the same thing or not. He probably wants to make another cannon pretty soon here. I would imagine. We'll have to see. But it does look like right now both players are going to play macro. I don't think Tomomo is going to all in at this point because he's got the hatchery, he's got the second queen. He doesn't have a roach horn coming down, which is a big indicator. And his gas is nowhere near as fast as it was the last game because the speed is just now starting. By the way, guys, this map is Sandshore and Mist. This is actually one of my other favorite maps from the Mapmaker tournament. Third hatchery going to go down right here. But the reason why I really like this map as well is because of the clockwise format, if you will, or counterclockwise, depending which way you want to view it, of the way the map is designed. You have a lot of expansions going in that, circular fashion. But the more you expand, all of a sudden you find yourself in a position where, you ask yourself, where do you grab the 4th? If you grab the 4th here, it's vulnerable to this high ground location overlooking the expansion. So what a lot of players will do is actually expand over to the other side of the map, and that creates an interesting dynamic because then you've got to defend expansions on different sides of the map, and it becomes a very much a hectic kind of a skirmish style of ZDP rather than ball versus ball, which I'm a big proponent of. So we'll see if that is what indeed happens this game. Saladin did get a scout on that hatchery, so right now he knows that the third hatchery is coming up. We'll see what his response is going to be as he's getting +1 weapons. But for now, it certainly looks like he's just going to stick to macro. Doesn't have anything like double Stargate or anything crazy coming down right now. He is chrono boosting the Forge with +1 weapons, so it looks like he's going to stay on the ground here. And a a Twilight Council coming down for Saladin. So he does want to go for what seems to be either Dark Templar or Blink. And depending on how many gateways he throws down here, we're going to find out. The more gateways that a Protoss player typically throws down after Twilight Council usually says, to me at least, that they want to go with heavy Blink Stalkers. You know, you're not going to produce more Dark Templar because of the gas limitation than more than 3 at a time. So usually they're not going to produce more than 3 warp gates. For now, just 3 warp gates, and it looks like he is going to go ahead and research Blink. And I think he's going to add on a couple more gateways, yeah. So it looks like Saladin's strategy this game is going to be to go ahead and go into mass Blink Stalkers with +2 weapons. So I see his build now coming into a mind of its own. Certainly going to be 6 gate, what seems to be 6 gate +2 weapons Blink Stalkers. Wow, this is a very aggressive opening from Saladin. And it worked really well in the last game, so it makes sense. It wasn't exactly 6 gate Blink Stalker in the last game. It was just a big +2 weapons Blink push with sentries, but this time around it's just going to be a dedicated +2 weapons Blink Stalkers. He doesn't have to deal with any kind of aggression at the front door. He's going to get his build out without any delays whatsoever. And Tomomo, unfortunately, is making roaches right now. This is not the unit he needs, but to his credit, he has a layer down much faster, much faster this game, so he can get a Hydralist Den out. And what he needs is Hydras and Zerglings to deal with Blink Stalkers. We'll have to see if he gets the scout out in time, though, because right now his Overlord's not in there. And I'm really surprised that Tomomo did not send in a sacrificial Overlord. It's only 100 minerals, and it totally tells you what Saladin is doing. So this is going to come to him as a complete surprise. Essentially, just mass sentries, mass +2 weapons Blink Stalkers. And we'll have to see if Tomomo's going to be ready for this or not. It's essentially the same build, but it's hitting much faster, like I said, because Saladin didn't have to deal with any Roachling aggression at the front. And so this could very well destroy this third hatchery here. That is so much firepower. We'll have to see if Tomomo's ready or not. He is actually going to have Burrow and Tunneling Claws. That could help out in a major way. We'll have to see if he can burrow his way underneath the force fields. Remember, Tomomo can go underneath because there is no observer. He can just kind of circumvent the force fields, and without any robotics facility at all, Saladin will not have any detection. So there is the Tunneling Claws finishing up, and Tomomo is going to make his way with his roaches. Oh my god, he could unburrow underneath the entire Protoss army, hitting the fresh, fragile sentries underneath, and he destroys about half the sentries. No, not actually destroying all the sentries there. So good play by Saladin getting out of the way right there. But that burrow, those amount of roaches are going to be enough to repel that timing attack. So Saladin unable to come up with a hatchery kill right there. And Tomomo looking much better in this game, playing a macro style. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and grab the 4th after that big moral victory as well. Anytime you can hold off a big aggressive push like that, it's a huge moral victory. It's at least to me as a Zerg player, it's like a sigh of relief, because you know that you didn't lose your 3rd, you know you've got map control, and now Saladin's going to have to figure out what he's going to do from here. And it looks like he's going to go ahead and go right into Robotics Support Bay. So he is going to try to support his Stalker Ball, his Sentry Ball with Colossus. I like that decision. You know, a lot of times Protoss from here will go into something like Charge Out Archon, but it doesn't make sense. You've already got the Stalkers, you've got Blink, you've got Sentries. The perfect unit, and the unit you really need to give you that long-range firepower, is the Colossus. So Saladin is going to start to make some Colossi now. He is going to make an Immortal first, though, which I agree with, because there's so many roaches on the ground, and Immortals are going to be a great unit to add into that composition. And it looks like Saladin going to go ahead and expand over to the top 12 o'clock position. But here's the problem with expanding up here now, because it becomes very difficult to kind of wall this area off. On this map, Sandshore Mist, you've got an opening right here from the main area in the middle, but you've also got an opening over here at the top. So is Saladin going to wall this entire area off like that? Remains to be seen. It looks like he's just going to wall off the top area and deal with this ramp on his own accord. But he's going to have to be very careful how he plays this, because like I said before, on this map, easy to expand, but it can get progressively difficult to hold down areas the more you do so. So we'll have to see what he does. Tomomo actually gearing up with a lot of roaches and hydras here. With +1 weapons. Now, he certainly has a window to push before the first Colossus hits the field. And there's a changing that made its way into the army. That changing was crucial. And I think Tomomo now realizes, okay, I have an opportunity to push. I know the third Nexus is up. Let's just go ahead and circumvent that wall by going right through this ramp. No, actually, he's going to try to catch this Protoss army in the middle of the field, and he will do just that. Huge Roach Hydra army. Force field's going down, but not nearly enough. Hydras have the plus range already, and this entire Protoss ball going to meet their demise. If Tomomo wants to be aggressive, no, he will not. There are cannons in the background, so combine that with the fact that there's a ramp there. I don't think Tomomo wants to run up that ramp. But certainly right now, Tomomo with an opportunity to bust this Nexus down, and I'm not entirely sure why Tomomo is just chillaxing right now. He sees the Nexus up, but he's not moving in to engage it, and he's going to fall back. There is certainly one reasoning that makes sense to me why he wouldn't want to run up the ramp, because if he does run up this way, then he leaves himself vulnerable to the Protoss army flanking him. So I thought he would have just run around through the back, but it doesn't look like he's going to do it. Now he's going to engage. If he was going to do this, he should have done it much sooner. And now this isn't the best of positions for him to engage in, but he gets a fungal off. The entire army is locked down. Saladin, though, still not enough with an army, and I think Tomomo will be able to break through. Yeah, look at that army getting into the Nexus with +1 weapons, like I said. Will kill off almost all the probes. That Nexus is taking heavy firepower. Saladin needs to break out right now. Thankfully, he gets a second Colossus on the field, and he needs to break this contain now and save this Nexus if he wants any hope of surviving this game. Emergency warp in of 3 Stalkers. Will he be able to keep the Nexus alive? 2 Hydralisks are headbutting the Nexus along with the Roach. It's going to be close, but the Nexus survives with 340 HP. So not quite as close as I thought it would be, but you know, those Roaches and Hydras headbutting buildings, you never know what will happen. But it looks like Saladin able to do the defense, and actually had a drop going on at the same time. I do apologize, guys, I didn't notice there was a drop. Let's see how many workers he killed. 14 workers! Oh my god, Saladin with a 14 worker kill drop with just a Warp Prism and 4 Zealots, it looks like. So, you know, while he took some damage at his third, he certainly dished it back in kind. And I think Saladin, with that, could certainly come away with that with a sense of relief, because he's not that far behind, if even behind at all, in this game. Nice plays from Saladin, just knowing when to drop, when to be aggressive, and yeah, it looks like he will sneak away with that Warp Prism intact and 3 Zealots still alive as well. And oh my god, we actually have a fleet beacon coming up right here. I just took a pause to take a breather for a second, and I looked at the top left-hand corner. There's a fleet beacon on the way right now. The Overseer is going to see the fleet beacon, though. Oh, no, I don't know if it saw it or not. Did Tomomo see? No, he didn't see the fleet beacon. He does have an Overlord at the top, but he doesn't see it either. He needs to move that Overlord in position, because if he sees his fleet beacon right now, he knows what Saladin is doing. He knows Saladin is saving up for the almighty mothership, which has actually become a very powerful unit in ZVP. And with that knowledge, Tomomo should actually just push in and attack before that mothership comes into play. I'm very surprised that he didn't see it, though, with his scouting units. It's just barely out of range of that Overlord. So sad. And it looks like right now he's just too distracted with that Warp Prism, which is once again dropping his expansion. Good plays from Saladin, just keeping Tomomo on the back foot. The mothership is now being recalled from Ire, and once your mama ship hits the floor, it's going to be very hard for Tomomo to deal with that vortex. That vortex and Archon combination, the toilet bowl as I like to call it, or Pain User likes to call it, is one of the most devastating combinations for Zerg to deal with. It looks like the Warp Prism did go down over the bottom of these 2 expansions, but like I said, guys, Tomomo needs to attack now, and I'm not sure what he's waiting for. He's maxed out right now, and anytime you're maxed as a Zerg, slam into the Protoss army. Why is he waiting? I just don't agree. It looks like he's waiting for Greater Spire to make Broodlords, but honestly, he's already maxed. He should trade right now before the Protoss army maxes, because a maxed Protoss army is significantly greater than a maxed Zerg army. Trade now, and then you'll have supply freed up for Broodlords anyways. So I don't know what Tomomo is waiting for. It looks like he's starting to think about the same thing too. He needs to attack now. Gonna lead the way with Changelings, it looks like. But the mothership is about to arrive. I think Tomomo may have waited too long, but better late than never. He's got to make something happen. Stalker's blinking in, and the mothership is almost here. It is here. In fact, the Changelings see what is up. And where is the mothership? I don't even know. There it is. Okay, it was made out of the mains. So the mothership is here. LoveTomomo knows what's up. He's got to fight now before that mothership gets enough energy to use a vortex. Corruptors going in. All the Colossus in a lot of trouble there. But the Archons and the Stalkers going forward, taking off a lot of the Corruptors. But the Corruptors just too many in number. It's all really going to come down to these Corruptors versus these Colossus. If Tomomo can kill off all the Colossi, then he's going to be in a good position. It looks like he will pick off almost all of them, but 2 still remain standing. And with the Colossus still standing, that is the crucial backbone of the Protoss army. It's like the spinal cord of Saladin, essentially. If he doesn't lose his Colossus, if he can keep at least 1 or 2 alive, he can continue to be aggressive. He can push out and regain some map control. Good play from Saladin, you know, getting his Stalkers underneath the Corruptors and saving what remained of his Colossi. And Tomomo unable to break that. So Tomomo actually in a tough spot right now, because now what does he do? The mothership is out. The Colossi are still alive. The Death Ball is beginning to form, and the Archons ready for their duty. Essentially, what are they going to be told to do? Run into the vortex and kill everything that gets sucked in between. And Tomomo, what is he going to do about this? I think, I don't know. Gosh, Broodlords are okay, but if they get vortex, it's not that okay. I think Cracklings can certainly be a useful unit. But we'll just have to see what he does here. It looks like he's got a lot of Roaches and Zerglings right now. Got to be careful, too. He doesn't want to max out too heavily, because then he's not going to have as much supply capacity saved up for actual Zerg forces. Rather, most of them being drones. It looks like 3 Dark Templar make their way over to this hatchery, and they will start slicing and dicing the hatchery in the yellow right now at half HP. Will he get units there in time? There is no detection at all, so it looks like the hatchery is going to go down. Good play from Saladin right there. Using Dark Templar at the late game when Zerg just least expects it. Tomomo now burrowing his drones to get him out of the way of those ferocious DTs. And now another expansion coming up from Saladin. I like the expansion location. Just going to go right ahead into the middle of the field. Has that Death Ball formed up. The mothership almost has double Vortex saved at this point. And that is just going to be double trouble, really, across the rainbow. I don't know what Tomomo's going to do. Here he goes, though. He has a lot of Corruptors. Those Colossi aren't going to stand a chance unless the Vortex goes down, which it does. Sucks up the Corruptors into the Vortex, into the black hole. And now the Archons can go to work. Is Saladin going to send the Archons in there? You bet your ass he will. And when those units come out, say good night. This is going to be terrible for Tomomo. And oh my God, those Archons are ripping the Corruptors apart, but it looks like the Corruptors get one laugh at the very least. They killed off the mothership at the very last second, so that's one victory they can take away, but at the cost of about half their entire supply. I mean, half the Corruptors went down to kill off that mothership, and essentially the entire Zerg army went down as well, and we can see Tomomo now in super scramble mode. He's got to get forces on the field right now to defend against this Protoss push. This could be devastating. There's actually probes in the mix as well, about, I don't know, 4 or 5 probes here. They don't really repair it. I don't know what they're doing, but hey, they're in there for the hell of it, and it looks like this is a big attack. Saladin in a bit of trouble, though, because he's going to lose his backbone, like I said before. Too many Corruptors in the air, and if Tomomo can macro enough forces, he can kill this off, but no, he is unable to do so. Just going to call the GG there. I didn't realize he was that... I don't even actually know why he just GG'd. He had 4,000 minerals saved up. You know, after you kill off all those Colossi, if you just macro out 100 Cracklings, did he even have the crack upgrade? Yes, he did. If he just macroed out 100 Cracklings, you know, he could have actually taken this army apart, but I think what happened here was he didn't have larva, so his queens just have so much energy saved up. So yeah, he just didn't have the larva to do it. A big blunder by him right there, and he loses the game to Saladin. So nice push from Saladin. Nice mothership vortex toilet bowl recall, whatever you want to call it. and Saladin takes the W with the big push here, but this was a risky push. Like I said, guys, if Tomomo had been on top of Inject Larva, he could have cracked out about 100 cracklings and destroyed this army pretty easily. So, but that's not the way the cookie crumbled for Saladin, and Tomomo did lose the game. So that's it, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed this series from the Mapmaker Tournament. If you guys get a chance, like I said before, check out IGN Pro League at www.ign.com/IPL. Also check out their social media at Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube and Justin TV at IGN Pro League. And if you guys enjoyed my cast, you guys can also follow me on Twitter and Facebook at HD Starcraft, and of course the main hub on my YouTube channel at youtube.com/HD Starcraft. So that's it for me, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Following this, I'm going to go ahead and get a game of Dota 2 out. I know you guys have been waiting to see it, so it's going to be coming next, and I hope you guys are ready for that. This is HD, signing out.